Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
Hey, what's up? This is Jeff Cobb, and you're listening to Keepin It Strong Style.
Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Let's go. It's the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh. Come and hit a job out in Barrio the Frost. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is the network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping the strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here, joined by the young boy Josh Smith. On today's show, we'll be reviewing the first 6 nights of the Best of the Super Junior 26, answering your questions, and of course, covering all the latest news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. You can support our show by subscribing to the Social Suplex Podcast Network on the podcast app of your choice and leaving a rating and review. You can also get all the podcasts and columns at socialsuplex.com. Go to socialsuplex.com/subscribe to sign up to get all of our podcasts and columns delivered directly into your email inbox. This episode of Keeping It Strong Style is brought to you by Powerslam TV. Powerslam TV is an independent wrestling streaming service with over 5,000 hours of wrestling from companies across the world. Go to Powerslam.tv, use the promo code SOCIALSUPLEX to get your first month free. Make sure you check out our Pro Wrestling Tee store, ProWrestlingTees.com/SocialSuplex. That's where you can get your official Keeping It Strong Style t-shirt. And guys, I definitely want to make sure you hit up that homepage of SocialSuplex.com. We have a lot of great things popping up on the homepage. Maserati, who's joined our team recently, has been putting out some great columns. We have some Best of the Super Junior night reviews that are starting to go up now. A lot of great stuff, you know, all the podcasts, all that stuff over on socialsuplex.com. We're getting a lot more people that want to write, so we're kind of building up the writing side now. So a lot more great columns coming your way from Social Suplex.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I don't know if you had any comments on that.
Nah, I literally, like, didn't have a good thing to say. I was hoping, like, you would lead me in, like, you know, like, be the Kevin Kelly to my Caprice Coleman, you know what I'm saying? But then you just stared at me for a second. I was like, dang, am I supposed to say something, like, really, really good here and, like, kick off the show? Sometimes I just don't have it, man. I feel like Kurt Angle, but not like Kurt Angle in 2001. Kurt Angle in, like, I wouldn't say 2019, maybe like 2016, you know, like I can still pull out like a 4-star with Bobby Lashley, but then I'm still going to suck like on those house shows, you know what I'm saying? Like that's how I feel right now.
Oh, man. All right, man. So we have survived the first week of the Best of the Super Juniors.
Survive? I've been thriving. I have thrived through the Best of the Super Juniors. I'm fine.
Everything's fine?
Everything is not fine. Everything is crappy, but still, we are here. So, how have these 6 shows been for you, man?
Overall, it's been a very entertaining watch. We have a lot of good matches, few great matches. Tournament has been pretty good. Yeah, man, I've been enjoying it, and throughout the busy weekend and busy schedule, I've been able to keep up and watch all. I've watched a lot of the undercard stuff, more than I was expecting to.
Same.
But yeah, so yeah, man, I'm all up to date, all caught up, man.
You're gonna watch the show and you're already caught up, and you're like, I might as well watch this Brody King tag match, or I might as well see what's going on with Shota Umino.
Right, and somebody on Reddit was kind of, I forgot who it was now, but we're kind of talking about, should you watch the undercards or not? And my thing is, like, if you have time to watch it, go ahead and watch it.
My whole thing is this: I would like kind of cherry pick it a bit. The thing is, what you're getting with those undercards is very similar to what you get when you watch the same Road to show every single night. You're getting a similar match. So I don't know if I would watch it every night. I would say for most people, I think that'd be like too strenuous a chore.
Right.
But,
well, I'm sure not everybody has time for it every night.
Right. Or even twice.
Yeah.
Because you watch it like twice and you're like, I'm pretty sure I saw Juice have this match last night. I'm pretty sure I saw, this same exact match with, who else on the tour? Like, what's his face is headlining all of them.
What, Brody King?
No, from LIJ. What's wrong with me?
Oh, Naito?
Yeah, it's like I've seen this Naito match already. It's like you probably have, maybe catch like one here or there and, enjoy it for what it is. But, there have been some stuff going on the undercard.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of those keys that have happened on the undercard so far. I think first thing, we have Juice Robinson. He's been getting over the Tenzan Boston Crab as one of his finishing moves, and then of course he's been. I
know he's been tapping guys with it, but it's mainly been like young lions. I didn't know if they were actually going to start establishing it as like a real finish.
Yeah,
is that how it's been coming off to you?
I feel like it because he's done it majority. I think all but one night he's won using that Tenzan Boston Crab. So normally when a guy is using a new finish every night, then that's usually a sign like this is something he's going to be using in the future. It's probably either going to be a false finish for a future match or it'll be his new overall finish.
You're totally right. The only reason that it didn't resonate with me like that was because it's been young lions and it's like you can tap them out with anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that probably hadn't – I hadn't even considered that he was actually trying to maybe utilize it as – anything other than a signature hold,
Right.
But now that you're saying that, I'm like, oh, is he gonna start trying to use this like in big matches? Like I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, I think it could be a good false finish. Like he locks it in on somebody, and they're like, oh, he was tapping people out in the tournament in the Best of Super Junior tour with that. Maybe he'll win the match with it, and so.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's a great point.
Yeah, and so we actually had a question about Juice using that Boston Crab from Reddit user Zach Saber Time. He says, let's talk about the worst move of this tour. Let's talk about the Tenzan style Boston Crab that Juice does. I think it's the ugliest and weakest looking version of the Boston Crab I've ever seen.
Huh. Hot take.
Yeah.
I don't know that I totally agree with that, to be honest with you. Here's how I've always felt about that version of the Boston Crab. It's kind of like something that I've always seen as like being for, this is going to sound bad, but like exotic wrestling.
What?
Not exotic, but like foreigners, like for instance, like the Mongolian chop. Like that's something Tenzan does too. Right. It's like that fits his character because he's like a big bruising brute force type of guy. Yeah. And it's like that version of the Boston Crab to me has always been something that only like big, strong, muscular, like, and also because they're from other countries, a lot of times you would see foreign like wrestlers do that sort of Boston Crab. Not too many not too many Gaijin or North American wrestlers use that version. So to kind of see like Juice doing it, I know Juice was trained by Tenzan. That's probably why he's adopting it,
right?
Which makes sense. But to me, that's why I kind of don't like him using it because I don't view him as being like a guy who can like get enough leverage because he's like I don't see him as being, like for instance, if Ishii did this, it would make all the sense in the world to me. Or if like Elgin was doing it, or even like maybe Hinare, I don't know, certain guys like that.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't know. I Juice can do whatever he wants, but it just doesn't really fit in my mind.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that version of the Boston Crab, and I don't mind Juice using it. I think it's kind of cool that he's kind of paying homage to one of the guys that's trained him, and it's always good to, get over another move that you can use as a signature or a false finish. So, I mean, I really don't have any problem with Juice using it, and I don't have a problem with the move in general. I think it's a different variation of the crab. I think it looks kind of cool.
Growing up, I remember being super pissed when Lance Storm started beating everybody with like a single leg crab, and I was like, he doesn't even have both legs. I don't understand. Like in my child mind, like one leg is not as strong as two legs.
Right? Yeah.
Like I didn't consider the fact that you could probably like torque the one leg and get way more like leverage. I was just like, he's doing a crappier version of a really good move, and he's winning. This makes no sense.
Oh man.
But yeah, the only thing with Tenzon's Boston Crab is like, I don't think it's more effective than a regular Boston Crab.
Right.
Unless, like, you got a really high angle on it, maybe, and then kind of push down. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, also stuff going on with Juice. They've been playing the Time's Up video either before the match, after the match, or during, like right before the bell rings.
I gotta say, I'm getting sick and tired of seeing this video.
So am I. And this is one criticism on New Japan with their vignettes. I love the fact they do vignettes for new guys.
I do too.
The problem is they normally use the same vignette and they play it over and over and over and over again. And I get, normally, New Japan's mainly a touring business over TV, so you want to make sure every city you go to sees the same video. Well, but now they have to consider that they're airing all these shows and that it's kind of overkill.
That's true. I mean, the one thing I thought about this was like, man, this is a really like well done video. It's really well produced, but now I can see why it's so well produced. They put all their money into the one video. They didn't have enough money to do a second video. Right. They don't got nothing else. It's like the same crap. And every single night, Juice is getting rattled. He's getting shaken by it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, at first it was really cool, but it's been like 7 shows now, and I'm like, come on, dude. Like, let's just, who is it? Like, right. Just tell, who?
But yeah, so Muzzle, he pointed out to us, he says, the DDT video of Chris Brooks' parody of NJPW vignette, does this mean he might not be the Time's Up guy? So you haven't seen it. DDT Wrestling, another company in Japan, they have put out a pretty much shot-for-shot version of the Time's Up video featuring Chris Brooks, who everybody thought the Time's Up guy was going to be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, from my opinion, I'm like, I don't think that, New Japan's Time Up guy is going to be Chris Brooks. I mean, I don't think that, they would let DDT just get away with doing a shot-for-shot thing and have it be Chris Brooks and spoil it. Also, it'd be kind of weird if they're bringing this guy in and he's doing DDT the same month. You think that's kind of weird?
I don't think that's necessarily weird. I don't know for sure. I mean, he could be a freelancer and have the ability to come and go as he pleases. What I do think is weird is if you were going to be the surprise guy and this was what creative in a competing Japanese company wanted to do, why would you do that? Like, don't you feel like that would kind of like burn the bridge a little bit?
Right.
That's the only thing. At first I was like, it could still be him, but it kind of seems like it's probably not. Now I'm like, who the crap is it?
Yeah.
I have no clue.
Yeah,
I was like dead set. It's Chris Brooks.
Yeah, I would say like 95% of the internet was sure it was Chris Brooks, but
part of me still like, I don't like to get worked though. Part of me is like, it's still Chris Brooks. Like, he's not even going to DDT. Like, this will work. This will work. This is all bullcrap. Bro, I have no clue. Yeah. I mean, it could be Bad News Barrett for all we know.
I'm hoping it's Oka.
It seemed like that. Those were some pretty Caucasian looking hands, though.
Yeah. I don't know. Oka's kind of light, though.
He light skinned?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, if it is Oka, that would be cool. I want it to be David Starr.
I just don't feel like that fits his that type of character fits him.
It's wrestling. Anything fits anybody.
I mean, that's true. I mean, you do what the booker says. As our friend Aaron Noah says, I'm not the booker.
Yeah.
So, he does what the booker says.
I mean, there's a bunch of guys it could be. I mean, now that we're thinking it's probably not Chris Brooks, I mean, it could be Davey Boy Smith. It could be Finley. It could be
Dave Finley. Yeah.
It could be Dave Finley, man. Like, that would be something where it's like he comes back and, it's his buddy. You know?
This whole time I was hurt. You never checked on me, kind of thing.
Time's up.
Yeah.
It could be that. Like I was saying, it could be Davey Boy Smith if they wanted to like give him a singles push. That we know that's a guy that's been frustrated with his placement in the company and his utilization, and maybe he wants to break out. And I mean, dude, if he were to come in with like a new sort of like character, but still be Davey Boy Smith, and he just starts like fucking people up, like I'd probably be with that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'd be down with that.
I'm trying to think who else. I mean, David Starr was somebody that I just mentioned. I don't really think it's him, but I just want it to be because I like David Starr now, and I'd like to see him get a shot in one of the big leagues.
Yeah,
he's like the one guy I'm like, why is nobody signing him? Like, it's kind of crazy, don't you feel like?
Yeah.
Anyone else you think it could be?
I don't know. I mean, they've been bringing in a lot of guys from Rev Pro. Maybe there's somebody else in Rev Pro that we're not thinking about that could possibly be. Besides, those few names, like I really don't have an idea of who this mystery man can be.
Well, I mean, for now, it looks like it's not Chris Brooks, which I don't know. I mean, are you happy about that, or are you disappointed?
Not really disappointed. I'm kind of neutral. Like, I'm not the biggest Chris Brooks fan. I mean, I think he's fine. So I'm actually might be kind of cool that it might be somebody else. So yeah, what about you?
I feel like we've kind of maxed out on like the lanky white foreigners from like either Australia or like Britain.
Yeah.
Like they just brought in Phantasmo.
We filled the quota.
Yeah, we filled the quota. I'd like it to be something different, you know what I mean? But I don't know who it could be. I'm actually looking at, like, just thinking that maybe it's somebody from Rev Pro.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think if there's anyone here that would make sense in my mind. I'm not saying they should do this, but Josh Bodum is a guy that they really like, or, that Rev Pro really pushes hard, and maybe he could be utilized. But I'm not seeing too much else here that I'm like, yeah, they would come in.
Yeah, it's not, yeah. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see who that will be. Some other stuff on the undercard, one night we had a battle of Bullet Club in a tag match where it was Jado and ELP against Gato and Robbie Eagles. It was a pretty little funny match there. I have a question from Maserati asking, why does Jado's Bull Cup shirt say Betty Boop? Did I miss something there?
I have no clue. I've actually noticed that, but never like expressed my curiosity about that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just assume it's like another marketing thing, sort of like how they have partnerships with Hello Kitty and like Tekken and Street Fighter and stuff like that. I'm just like, they got something going Betty Boop. I don't know.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's probably like a Twitter thing. Like, Jado actually tweets quite a lot, and a lot of his shirts have been coming from Twitter, like the whole like I don't care thing. That shirt that he was wearing, that came from the little Twitter exchange thing. So yeah, it must have been something on Twitter, something we missed, or like you said, like some kind of partnership that they now have with Betty Boop. I guess I have no idea.
Yeah, we don't know. I think I was about to say you're asking the wrong guys, but I think you're talking to the right guys, but we just don't know.
Also on the undercard, we've had Brody King's New Japan debut in the tag matches, and he's looked great.
Yeah, man. Brody King is for real. Like, this man wants a contract. He's trying to get signed, bro.
Yeah, he's trying to get in the G1.
Yeah, and I'm all for that. Like, at this point, I am 100% down for that.
Yeah, we had a question from Twitter user Tony @TonyToughNuts. It says Brody King in the G1 ? What singles matches would you want to see him in?
Real simple. I'm going to tell you the same name I tell everybody. Anytime anybody new gets offered to be in a G1 or even come to New Japan and you're like, who do you want to see them wrestle? It's always the same guy. It's always the same one person. Ishii.
Dude, Brody King and Ishii. Oh my gosh.
How about Brody King is a giant in New Japan?
Yeah.
Like, he's a normal sized guy in America, but in New Japan,
he's towering over.
Bro, he's a fucking monster.
And dude, he's getting over with the crowd big time.
Yeah, he is.
They like him.
Yeah, because he's got a good look. But bro, he can really work. Like, he's doing some really impressive stuff.
He's got a good look. He's huge. He's doing stuff that, guys his size shouldn't be doing. And yeah, like he's there to impress, man. Like, he's making the most of this opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I've seen Brody King, and I know you have too. We saw him in AEW when we were at Chicago for All In Weekend. We've seen him in PWG. We've seen him on MLW, all over the place. And I'm not saying he's having the best matches of his life, but like his individual performances are so eye-catching. It's like he's really putting it out there. When like he's maximizing every opportunity he gets when he gets a chance to be in the ring. And I'm like,
right.
Dude, if I'm New Japan and I see this guy doing what he's doing and like how he's getting over, like I pick him up and I use him.
Yeah.
Like,
so yeah, I'd be all about Brody King being in the G1. I think that'd be a great addition.
Newcomer of the Year award?
Could be.
Possible.
Yeah.
Possible.
And they've also been kind of doing this storyline. Kind of started in Ring of Honor, and it's kind of bled over here in New Japan, where they are looking for the fourth member of Villain Enterprises. And we have a question here from Twitter follower at 7starsNJPW. How do you think the fourth member of Villain Enterprises will play a part in the Best of the Super Juniors?
I really don't think it will. I would be surprised if it played into the storyline of the Best of Super Juniors. But you never know. I mean, is that something that you'd considered?
Not really. Once again, I just thought it was one of those kind of backstage things where they're just trying to get Villain Enterprises over. They're going with the whole thing, like, they're scouting talent. Like, I don't think it's really going to play out in the tournament. Maybe I think they're just kind of trying to continue to keep that storyline going. We had another question about it from Twitter follower at Tweeter Ain't Shit. He says, Martin Squirrel said they're recruiting for his stable. What are the chances that they recruit a young lion and that's how they start their excursion?
Yeah, actually, that would be freaking awesome. That's not something I'd really considered either, but I mean, that'd be a great way to get somebody like started off for their excursion and to really get them utilized in a major way in Rev Pro. So I would be all for
Ring
that.
of Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about Rev Pro. Yeah, absolutely. In Ring of Honor. So I think that'd be really cool. I don't know if that's what they're going to do, though.
Yeah, I doubt it. I mean, but if there was one young lion, I would definitely say Narita. He's been healing it up a little bit in his performances, and he just has that heel douchebag kind of face, the face you want to punch, and so I think he would fit in perfectly well in Villain Enterprises.
Yeah, I'm trying to get this Narita and PCO tag team going. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh, I can't even picture.
Be freaking awesome.
Oh my god.
Yes.
And then a side question from at Tweeter Ain't Shit. He says, the other guy talking about you on your podcast. Said,
Wait, what? He called me the what?
The other guy.
What do you mean the other guy? What does he mean by you people?
He said the other guy on your podcast said he sold vacuums.
Wait. Whose podcast? What is he even talking about right now? Yo, this is the most offensive question we've ever gotten on this show. I don't even know if I should answer it right now. Like, this is.
You said that you sold vacuums door to door. He says, was it Kirby? He says he used to do it too.
First off, no, it was not Kirby. Second off, I don't remember sharing this part of my life with you people, the listeners. I'm flustered right now. Let's make things real clear right now. This is not Jeremy's podcast that I am on. Me and Jeremy share this podcast. This is a 50-50 podcast. I'm not the other guy. He called me the other guy, bro.
Called you Marty Jannetty.
Bro, if I wasn't white, I'd be like, yo, this is racist.
I'm appalled.
I am appalled. Yo, I'm so bummed that's the way that Tweeter Ain't Shit thinks of me. Like, God. Anyways, yeah, I sold rainbows, okay? And for anyone who doesn't know what a rainbow is, look it up. We used to say it's not a or it's not a vacuum. It's a rainbow. Yeah. But long story short, it's like a $2,500 or like $3,000 like vacuum that runs off of water, basically.
Gotcha.
Yep. Used to sling those. Used to sell them. I really want one, actually. We need a vacuum for the dojo, like, desperately.
Yeah.
Like, it's getting pretty bad here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta get on that.
Yep.
But anything else on the undercard that we needed to touch on?
The one thing I wanted to say is that, I actually used to I would go into people's houses that had Kirby's and then make them give me the Kirby in exchange for the rainbow. Like, I wouldn't let them keep their vacuum. We'd give them a quote-unquote trade-in credit for it.
Yeah.
And we'd say we'd take $400 off the deal or whatever. And then, so, like, I loved selling to people that bought Kirby's. They have these giant, big metal freaking Kirby vacuums. They're just, like, straight steel. We used to, like, play games where we'd try to chuck them, see how far we could chuck a Kirby. It's great. That's what we used to do. Other than that, though, speaking of the undercard, there was one thing. So, obviously we've had the Young Lions on the undercards. One big running story that's been taking place all throughout the tour is Shota Umino, who obviously was in the New Japan Cup earlier this year and is aiming to try and get a spot in the G1. And he said at this point he feels like he's being passed up because Ren Narita has been put into a block tournament, which is something he's been unable to do. So at this point, the only way he can kind of catch up and be on Narita's level, he has to get in the G1. But in order to do that, he's got to pin a heavyweight first. So all throughout the tour, during all these multiple tag matches, he's trying to freaking pin a heavyweight, which I don't think is going to happen.
Yeah.
Other than that, I did want to say one thing. This is something I wanted to say on the air. Yo, there is a fly in the dojo right now, and it is bugging the crap out of me.
Yeah, I just got chopped with you trying to kill it.
It's because it's flying by Jeremy, and I want it to die. I should have gone like whoosh. What's Tenzan do? Oh yeah, shh. I should
Mongolian chop.
Yeah, I should have freaking Mongolian chopped you. Caprice Coleman. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So I've been on the record saying that I am not really a commentary guy. Like, commentators are kind of just commentators to me. And, like, really, really good ones are fine. And ones that are kind of, like, less than, I don't notice them. But when someone's bad, and I mean really, 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 really bad, then I'll have a problem with it, right?
Right.
I have gone on record many times saying that I freaking hate Caprice Coleman. Like, every time I hear him in Ring of Honor, I think he's literally the worst commentator I've ever heard in my entire life. And then on night one of this tour, I was like, God, he's so bad. And then night two, I was like, he's getting a little better. And then night three, I was like, what is happening right now? Caprice Coleman sounds fine. And now we're at night six, and I'm like, are Caprice Coleman and Kevin Kelly the best commentary team in the sport right now?
Oh my gosh!
I don't know what's happening,
dude.
He's getting better.
Yeah, he's
gotten better over 6 shows. It's freaking nuts. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I thought he's been doing pretty good. I didn't think he was all that great in Ring of Honor.
Oh, he's bad. He was bad,
but he's gotten so much better. And yeah, he's really just excelling here in this role. And it's funny, Floyd from All Things Elite, we were actually kind of talking about this last week because he hit me up. He's like, criticism. He's like, do you think Caprice talks too much? And I think, he's too busy. Yeah, I think it'd be better if just somebody just paused a little bit. He's like, and Floyd's like, I just feel like he doesn't know when to stop talking. And I'm like, I feel like he makes a good point, but then he just keeps talking. And sometimes he repeats the point or he says something that doesn't make sense, which distracts you from the good point he made. So I think if he just, made his point, kind of sit back a little bit, let Kevin Kelly kind of jump in, and then hold off and then come back in, that'd be great. But other than that, I think he's been doing a fantastic job.
All I know is he usually says a lot of really, really stupid shit. That's all I can say. Usually the stuff he says is god-awful and stupid, and now it's not. Like, he's fine. And it's like, he might get nominated for Most Improved in the 2019 Keepin It Strong Style Awards. Like, my God, this man has done a complete 180. Like, this is nuts.
Yeah, and working with the pro that Kevin Kelly is, I'm sure night after night he's been giving them tips, pointers, and
maybe just covering like a really great wrestling product and not having to cover Ring of Honor. Like that might have something to do with it too.
Yeah,
but
and I think he's just super excited to be there. You can feel,
bro, he's like getting on his game.
Yeah, you can feel the excitement coming from him. The whole show that he's commentating.
I know,
and his calls on like near falls have been great too.
Yeah, I know. I've said some disparaging things, but like in all honesty, Caprice Coleman is doing a really good job actually, and I'm kind of surprised. Like I am very surprised, but like yeah, he's gotten a lot better, and I'm like, what? Like this is nuts.
Yeah.
So like yeah, Caprice Coleman is no longer my least favorite commentator.
Well, he was never my least favorite. There's a lot of people that kind of fit that list for me, but yeah, definitely has improved.
Let me just say this: I would have rather listened to Lanny Poffo.
Aw, Chief. Nah.
Bro, at least Lanny Poffo was entertaining. At least he was entertaining. I couldn't stand Caprice. Now all of a sudden Caprice has gotten good. So yeah.
All right. So anything else before we jump into reviewing the tournament?
No, let's talk about this tournament.
All right. So how we're gonna break this thing down? We'll start with the A block. We'll start at the top of the leaderboard and work our way down to the bottom. Talk about each wrestler, their performance overall, and some of the matches that we enjoyed. And so we'll do that. We'll do the A block, then we'll do B block, and that's how we're going to break this thing down. So we'll start at the A block. On top of the leaderboard, we have the Bone Soldier, Taiji Ishimori, 30 wins, 0 losses, 6 points in the tournament. What have been your thoughts about the Bone Soldier so far?
So Ishimori comes back into this tournament after relinquishing his title at the Madison Square Garden show just last month. He got a return date with Dragon Lee and was unable to defeat him on the Dontaku tour. So he came into this coming off of 2 big losses, not a lot of momentum. First round of the first night of the A block, he gets a return date with Dragon Lee, and they are in the headline of the A block. And Ishimori rebounds, picking up a big 2 points, defeating Dragon Lee, the current reigning IWGP Junior Champion. And then since then, he's just been on a roll. He went through Marty Scurll. He's gone through Teton, undefeated, 6 points, 3-0. Ishimori's like at the top of this block right now.
Yeah, like we mentioned last week, we expected Ishimori to be one of the guys at the top of this block.
Yes.
The night one main event with Dragon Lee, I thought it was a great match. I rated that one at 4 stars. It wasn't as good as the Wrestling Dontaku match, but it was still a great matchup.
I was kind of disappointed in it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, I think they had a lot of things working against them. It's being a rematch so soon. They were slotted after the hottest match on the card.
Yeah.
So a lot of things kind of going against it.
I also have a suspicion that both Ishimori as well as Dragon Lee might be somewhat banged up.
Yeah, I've been hearing reports that Ishimori is banged up, and I didn't even need reports to tell that. Night 3, the Marty Scurll match.
Whew.
Wow, Ishimori was botching all over the place. He was moving half the speed that he normally moves, and he just wasn't clicking.
A lot of rest holds, a lot of weird miscommunication, where it's like the guys didn't seem to know where they were, what they were doing. The crowd was not into it. It was dead, and it was so long, bro.
Yeah,
that was a freaking long match. I thought they were going to Broadway.
Yeah.
Now here's the funny thing. I've heard a lot of people disparage this match and talk badly about it, and almost all of it is falling on Scurll. You're the one guy that I've heard a lot of that. I haven't heard anyone else bring criticism against Ishimori, but you pretty much said that you feel like most of this was on Ishimori.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at other Ishimori matches, never botches. He's moving lightning fast, and then if you look at this Scurll match, the 2 major botches were on Ishimori.
That's true.
That gutbuster move thing that he does, he couldn't get Scurll up for that, and then he went to run up and do a Frankensteiner, and he slipped twice trying to do that. So that wasn't on Scurll.
Yeah.
So you can say what you want about Scurll, but Ishimori definitely had a big hand in that match not going the way it should have gone.
Absolutely. So from a kayfabe perspective, he's sitting at the top of the block, undefeated. He's picked up a win over Dragon Lee, the champion, which, in theory would hypothetically put him in line for a title shot again down the line.
Yeah.
But in terms of match delivery and performance, I would say that Ishimori is not delivering what we know he's capable of.
Right.
Now, with that being said, last year, Ishimori was not turning out classic after classic. He had a really good match against Will Ospreay the first night, and then he kind of had good performances throughout the rest of the tournament, but I wouldn't call his matches great until like towards the very, very end, like the one with Hiromu and all that. I mean, he was a guy who kind of coasted, had a formula, did his match, and then when it mattered, he turned it on and had great matches. The difference here is like he's having okay matches, but he's not having great performances at the same time.
Right. The Dragon Lee match was the best of the 3 matches that he's had thus far.
And I wasn't as high on it as you were. I thought it was a little bit. I was like 3 3/4. I didn't even think it was a 4-star match.
Gotcha.
Not to say it was bad. It wasn't bad. I mean, that's still not a bad match. But I wouldn't call it a great match. I mean, the match they had at Dantaku was
that was incredible.
Yeah, it was way better than that.
Yeah.
That might be why they're so banged up. They had that just a few days ago.
Exactly.
So I mean, you can't criticize him too much, but the Ishimori Teton match was okay, but it didn't really click for me. It was just kind of there. Ishimori and Skrull might be the worst New Japan match I've seen this year, honestly. And I mean, Mikey Nichols is in this company, so that's telling you something. I mean, that was bad. I would, if you're listening, you haven't watched it, don't watch it. Don't even watch it for the curiosity factor of oh, they're saying it's so bad. Maybe no, it's not that kind of bad where it's oh, I gotta see this. It's a train wreck. It's just not good.
Yeah, I mean there were some moments where it looked like it could have been good.
The first 5 minutes or 6 or 7 minutes, everything was fine, and I was why are people complaining about this? Because I was a little spoiled on it.
Yeah,
and then I was oh, it's getting bad. Oh, it's getting really bad. And it was really bad before the botches started. It was already bad. So yeah, that's kind of it. But people have bad matches from time to time. It was disappointing though, with the whole fact that's Ishimori and Skrull.
That was probably one of the most disappointing matches for me. That was one I had circled.
Me too.
I thought that would have been a really great match. I thought there was a lot of story to play on with Skrull being the former Bullet Club Jr.
They didn't play into it,
and Ishimori being the new Bullet Club Jr. There was none of that. It was just a match, and then there was botches, and it didn't click. And so, yeah, that was a big disappointment for me.
I agree. So that's where we're at with Ishimori. Any final thoughts on him?
No, that's about it. So we're gonna move on to my dog, Takagi Shingo, the Dragon. Also 3-0, 6 points.
Shingo's my dog too. I mean, you're going a little ham right now.
Nah, man, I love me Shingo, man. This dude.
Yeah, bro, I love Shingo too.
No, but I love Shingo.
This is getting ridiculous.
Oh man, dude.
So now this podcast belongs to you, and your love for Shingo, that's yours too.
Yes.
God,
oh man,
I'm about to quit the show. But yeah, man, Shingo has been spectacular in this tournament, man. Just freaking awesome. Awesome. Let's talk about it. Shingo versus Sho, night 1.
Yeah, I mean, we had a question here from Reddit user Kenny Omega Fan 1. He says, what is the best match so far of the tournament? Night 1, Shingo versus Sho. So far, best match of the tournament, bro. That's a junior match of the year contender. It's a strong style fight of the year contender.
I agree.
Oh my gosh, these guys were killing each other.
I agree. Yeah, I didn't expect. I was expecting to like this match, and I was anticipating it, but I felt like maybe I was missing the boat where I wasn't anticipating it quite as much as I know Jeremy was more excited for it than I was. Other people that are writers and commentators and fans on Twitter and stuff, they all seem to be more hyped for this match than I was. And I was like, it's gonna be good, but I just didn't see Sho at Shingo's level.
Mm-hmm.
then the match happened, and then something strange started happening to me, man. I don't know what it was, but I just got emotional about this match. Like, I was plugged in and invested, and they really blew me away. This felt like I was watching a G1 match during the Best of the Super Juniors. Totally different feel than any match that I've seen in the past few years from a Best of the Super Juniors. This really blew me away. There was a point where they had already started to have a great match, and it got to a point where Shingo started hitting Sho with pumping bombers, and then what's his not his finisher, but his
Ganoshigami?
Yeah, I never know what to call it. He hits him with the Ganoshigami, and then he hit him with the pumping bomber, and I was like, he's gonna put him. That's it. It's over. Normally that's not like his finish, but he'd already pumping bomber with this guy a bunch of times, and he had already kicked out of all of Sho's finisher. So I was pretty much set, like, oh, this is where the match ends. And then Sho kicked out. And then Sho kept kicking out. And then he came back. And then he started working the arm. And then they started going in. And I was like, oh, my God, this match is nowhere near over. Like, you get to that point where you feel like a match is really over, and then it's not. And then it gets better and better.
It just keeps going, yeah.
Do you know what this reminded me of in some ways? It's maybe not the same match layout, but there's a lot of similarities. This really reminded me of Brock Lesnar and CM Punk from SummerSlam. Had a lot of similar vibes to it.
2013, yes. Yeah.
I don't know why, but I just had a very similar feeling. This is the kind of wrestling that I like. It really, like, drew me in. I was really biting. I got so behind Sho. Like, Shingo is just a juggernaut and a monster, but I was like, come on, Sho. Like, come on, Sho. And Sho was getting so close so many times.
Yeah. And I love, the arm work that Sho is doing.
I loved it.
The big part of the storyline for Sho, a lot of the hype videos, they showed him doing his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training and how he was going to incorporate more submissions this year. And, right off the bat, they played into that, him working the arm, going for cross arm breakers, trying to weaken. The arm is one of Shingo's strongest weapon with that pumping bomber lariat.
That's the other reason I liked it, because he was weakening his weapon. So it's great psychology. Just like, that's like what Andre did against Stan Hansen in 81. He started attacking the lariat arm. If I ever wrestle somebody that has a lariat, I'm going to try to F up their arm. Like, exactly. That's what you do.
Yeah. Working over the arm and just trying to get the advantage that way. But yeah, this match was excellent, incredible, tons of fire. These guys were just killing each other. It was awesome.
Now, let me tell you, I was so high on this match. Like, after I watched it, I was like, I don't know what I'm rating it, but I'm really high on it.
Yeah.
And my whole question was, am I 5 stars or not on it? I'm 4 3/4. Like, I'm right there. I see you're a little lower. Why is that?
I'm 4.5. I mean, I could be. I was in the middle, 4.5, 4.75. I punched it in at 4.5 on Grapple, but I could still be convinced to go 4.75. Trying to be a little bit conservative with the star ratings. But I mean, this match was incredible. I mean, I could go 4.75 on it. I think I kind of chickened out and went 4.5.
I'll tell you what, there's no other junior match this year that touches it in my book.
Yeah,
that's the one thing I've been thinking about when I watch it. Is like, I can't think of another junior match in New Japan that holds a candle to it, unless maybe like that 3-way, but it was 8 minutes long. You know what I mean?
You didn't like Dragon Lee Ishimori from Dontaku?
Not as much as this. Not as much as this. Like, not as much. Yeah, this blew me away. And that was a great match too. But yeah, this was spectacular. So obviously Shingo ends up picking up the win here. We're gonna move on, but he grabs Sho at the end, grabs him by his bangs, and says something to his face. And I don't know if he was.
It was kind of. I got the Undertaker Jeff Hardy kind of vibes after the ladder match.
I almost felt like people could read into it and think he was paying him respect, but it almost felt like maybe he was being a dick and being like, I told you so. Why you playing? Like, why you playing with me, kid? Like, I told you, you're not ready. And then he just takes off. Like, so it could have gone either way.
Yeah.
But that was the biggest challenge so far for Shingo. The next, on night 3, he took on Teton. 3-star affair. It was fine.
Yeah, I got that one 3.25. Good little match. I mean,
the thing that's good with Shingo is, he looks so dominant, but the guys he's wrestling, they get their moments, you know?
Yeah.
And so Teton had his moments, but ultimately Shingo goes through him. But night 5 was a very interesting match. So Shingo took on Kanemaru, and they were in a tag match the night previous, which, by the way, Shingo's tag partner throughout this entire tour is... Naito. Why do I keep forgetting Naito? What's wrong with me? He's teaming with Naito. Can you imagine like a more like dominant like New Japan tag team than like Naito and Shingo
with the belts on them?
Yeah, man. I want to see those two guys take on the Mega Aces.
Oh my bro!
I want to see them wrestle the Golden Lovers.
Yeah.
And the Young Bucks.
Yes.
And the Usos. And LAX.
The Revival.
Yeah, and Revival.
But yeah, so like you were mentioning, in the tag match beforehand, the night before, Kanemaru hit Shingo in the knee with a chair to soften that knee up for this match up here.
Post-match.
Yeah. So then going into this matchup with Kanemaru, Kanemaru was working Shingo's leg, working the knee the whole match, and you know, sometimes body part matches and like especially matches where they work the knee or leg, it can really drag, or you know, it kind of puts you out of disbelief when the guy's kind of running on the leg they worked on. But I thought they did a great job in this match, isolating the legs. Shingo did a great job selling the leg and just made you actually get behind Shingo. You know, Shingo's usually a juggernaut destroying everybody, but you actually saw, you know, a crack in the shield, some weakness in Shingo, and you actually got some simpy on him.
Some simpy. Here's the thing about Kanemaru. We asked the question last week, well, who could realistically get a win over Shingo? And there weren't too many guys, but you know what? Kanemaru is one of those guys who can realistically beat almost anybody in the tournament because we've seen him do it year after year. He's a guy that upsets people. He'll hit you with that Satori surprise, Satori special, and he'll pick up a 1-2-3 over you. You might be a champion. You might be undefeated. And he's not going to win the tournament. He's going to just take 2 points from you and embarrass you and move on. And that's kind of Kanemaru's role. And, like, with people questioning, is Shingo going to lose? And with him coming in with a quote-unquote injury and him going up against one guy who believably could pick up the win and it be fine, it did cause a lot of doubt about the outcome of the match. So when Shingo's selling here was incredible.
Yeah.
Kanemaru's healing it up was awesome. And this was way better than expected.
Yeah, you also had Taichi, who was on commentary.
Yeah.
And he was trying to get involved also.
Yeah, the Young Lions had to come in and restrain him, which was freaking awesome.
That was cool. You also had a great spot where Red Shoes is down and Shingo, he gets the bottle of whiskey and does...
Well, before that, Kanemaru had a chair and somehow Shingo ended up with it. So he goes to spray the Satori special. Oh, wait, he did, but he'd already...
No, so he blocks Kanemaru's Satori.
That's right.
And then he gets the bottle and spits the whiskey in Kanemaru's face.
Yeah, so that was... I saw that happening. I thought it was really, really creative. Bottom line, Shingo's having, you know, a really good tournament so far, undefeated. Best match of the tournament, another really great match with Kanemaru, who they've worked together quite a bit, you know, throughout the years, so that makes a lot of sense.
And yeah, especially during the tag feud, they've kind of worked together a lot too. So yeah, we had a question from Reddit user Mookie1515. He says, "Who, if anyone, is giving Shingo his first loss?"
I don't know. Like, I'm starting... Okay, so while we're on the subject, you know, I've said many times I didn't think Shingo's going undefeated. The only thing that makes me feel like maybe he won't go undefeated is how many times on the commentary, they're like, is he going to go undefeated? And I'm like, yo, y'all are, like, kind of telegraphing it a little too much.
Yeah.
That makes me feel like he might not actually go undefeated. But with him, we talked about it last week. It's kind of cheating, but Ishimori is his final challenge on the last night. They're both at the top of the cards right now. If Shingo were to go into the final night 7-0, and Ishimori goes in there with, 6-1, if he were to beat him, then they would tie, and then Ishimori would go on and get the tiebreaker. So there could still be a scenario where there's quite a bit of drama between those two individuals on the final night, and Takagi could, hypothetically, if he beats Ishimori, go undefeated. I'm starting to think that is what's going to happen. I think that's what's happening, man.
Yeah, I'm all in. I'm all for it. We had a question. Also, Mookie also asked. He says, "Has anyone ever run undefeated through an entire Best of Super Junior?"
Yes, they have. So I was not. I think on past episodes we had similar questions, and I said I didn't think anybody had. Turns out it has occurred twice in the past. So in 2001, it was first accomplished by Jushin Thunder Liger. He did it in a 6-block tournament, though, so a lot less matches. He only had to beat 5 guys and then a final, so that's 6 matches total. Mm-hmm. And then in 2013, Prince Devitt, also known now as Finn Balor, also accomplished this feat. He did it in an 8-man block tournament, so that means he had 7 victories, went into the finals, won the final, perfect 8-0 overall for the entire thing. So if Shingo were to do it, he would actually be the 3rd person to ever do it in this tournament. But not only would he be the 3rd person, but he would have defeated, 10 guys total?
Right, he would have done it in the biggest block.
Ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more Shingo in action this week. Up next, we have the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, Dragon Lee. He has 2 wins, 1 loss. He's at 4 points.
Yeah, so we talked about Ishimori and Dragon Lee already. On night 3, Dragon Lee was coming in with 0 points, taking on Sho, who also had 0 points. And we already had seen these 2 guys have a match last year that was kind of like Sho's breakout match of his career.
Yeah.
And this match was just incredible.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. I have this one at 4 1/4.
I agree.
I thought it was the perfect blend of styles. You had Dragon Lee's, kind of high-flying lucha style mixed with Sho's kind of striking, grappling, submission-based style. And I just thought they gelled perfectly. A lot of drama into the matchup. And Dragon Lee ends up getting the win, getting the 2 points, and another near victory for Sho.
Yes, and we're going to talk about Sho here in just a minute. But yeah, Dragon Lee, 2 nights in a row, very, very good matches. Night 5, we wound up with Dragon Lee defeating Jonathan Gresham, the Octopus, in what was, again, another good match. Now, it's we'll talk about that here in a second, but I do think it's interesting that Dragon Lee is still consistently having good matches. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't seem to be performing to the kind of level that I'm used to out of him, especially in a Best of the Super Juniors. And I think he's banged up, man.
Yeah, dude, that Ishimori match at Dontaku was a banger. They were doing some crazy stuff in that match.
They did some crazy junk, but yeah, and he's been touring with New Japan for quite a while now.
Right, yeah, he's been taking a break from CMLL to fulfill his role as the junior champion.
It's got to be a grind.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's having really good matches still. But he just doesn't seem to be moving or have the kind of snap that I'm used to seeing from Dragon Lee. And we're still early in this tournament, and we've got a way more strenuous week coming up than this past week.
Yeah.
So I'm a little worried about Dragon Lee, honestly. But overall, he's having a great tournament. What did you think about Lee and Gresham?
I enjoyed it. I had that one at 3.75. It was a little bit shorter than I expected it to be. It went about 10 minutes. But it was a very good match. I think it was a great showcase for Gresham, and just kind of showing his his kind of submission-based wrestling and using his submission-based style to kind of counter and ground Dragon Lee.
I really dug that match. I was surprised. I mean, they're both guys I like, mm-hmm. and I thought it could be a good match, but I was surprised at how much I ended up liking that match. I like that Dragon Lee had to kind of turn it into a fight to overcome Gresham. So, mm-hmm. But Dragon Lee found a way, and so he's 2-1 at this point. Still doing very good in the tournament, but he needs somebody to get a win over Ishimori in order for him to, have potential going on. So let's talk about the next man in this tournament, Marty, the Villain Skrull, 2-1. We started out night 1 with what I would say was his best match of the tournament, Skrull versus Jonathan Gresham. Mm-hmm. Match I was really looking forward to. I don't think it lived up to some of the hype that people had expected, but it was better than like for instance, like I know Rich was like, I'll skip this match. It was a good match.
It was a pretty good match. I got that one at 3.5 stars. And again, it was one of those matches. It was like either like second or third, right? And so it didn't get a lot of time.
Night one was a really, really great night of matches. Like we had this match, the Show and Shingo match, and then also Dragon Lee versus Ishimori in the main event. I mean, those were three, and then the other two undercard match. Night one was just great all around.
Yeah, night one was a great way to kick off the whole tournament.
But Skrull and Gresham had a really good match. Skrull ends up picking up the win there. He's doing that. What's his new move called?
The Black Plague.
I don't like that move.
You keep saying that, but I don't see anything wrong with it, man.
It looks like shit.
Just
no, it looks like shit. It looks terrible.
I thought your problem was it looks dangerous.
No, it doesn't. No, it's not that it's dangerous. It just doesn't look like he's doing anything that's going to be good. He's just kind of like tossing them. It's like a toss.
Well, it's like an elevated a butterfly suplex in a way.
Nah, because that's beautiful.
Well, it's not. He's not doing over the head, but he hooks a double underhooks and then he kind of spins them out.
He like swings and just like kind of tosses them, and it's up to that guy to like turn over and take the back bump. Mm-hmm. It's not I liked what he was doing last year with the reverse suplex.
Yeah.
This looks, to be honest, I think it looks really sloppy. Like in a world of really cool finishing moves, like this to me. Oh yeah, someone asked us like what they thought the worst move of the tour is. I think this is the worst move of the tour. I hate it. I really hate it. I'd rather he just tap everybody out with freaking chicken wings.
Yeah, I do prefer the chicken wing over the Black Plague, but I don't hate it as much as you do. I
hate it.
It's fine for a secondary finisher.
I don't even think like you. I think like that's the reason he's not world champion right now. He's got a crappy finisher.
Yeah, night 5 he had a match with Tiger Mask, which was a fine little match, little 3-star affair.
I'm gonna say this right now. Marty is the most disappointing wrestler in the entire block.
Yeah. I firmly agree with that, and that hurts me, being a Marty Scurll fan, but
I mean, we know what we're getting with Marty, and we said this last week. You never know what you're going to get with Marty, especially when it comes to Best of the Super Juniors, you can get Big Match Marty where he turns it on and puts on a 5-star classic, or you can get, I don't even know if I would call this lazy Marty. It's just like his heart doesn't seem to be in it or something. I know we talked at length about the Ishimori match, but like the Tiger Mask match wasn't that great, and I felt like the Gresham match should have been better than it was. And a lot of why that match was so good was Gresham and not really Marty.
I feel like the Gresham Scurll match could have been better if they had more time.
I think it could have been better if they had more time, but I also think it could have been better if like Scurll came to work. It didn't feel like Scurll was like trying, bro. Like I don't think Scurll is working very hard on this tour at all. And for a guy that's as talented as he is, he needs to be having better matches. Yeah. Especially on this tour. Like he's a guy that like they're pushing him. Look, he's 2-1, but like, well, I guess Tiger Mask is too. But yeah, I mean, I think Marty's, for his aptitude, is really underperforming.
Yeah. So like you mentioned, also at 2-1, Tiger Mask 4 points. Night 1, man, he had a nice little match with Taka Michinoku, man.
I liked that match.
I liked it a lot. I mean, I have it at 3 stars, but that. See, I think
for how crappy we thought that match was going to be,
right?
We're grading that on a curve.
Yeah, for like star ratings, you got to think like, yeah, it's 3 stars, but like the two guys, it's Tiger Mask and Taka. Like you're not expecting them to go out there and do some kind of banger, but for their age and kind of what they've been producing the last few years, I thought, man, I really enjoyed it. They were moving really good. A lot of cool counters.
Tiger Mask hasn't been like great or anything, but he's been perfectly fine on this tour. Perfectly competent. He's been trying kind of hard. He's been doing a lot of like cool, like little slick, like knee, like rolling for knee bars and rolling for ankle locks and
stuff.
A
lot more submission based stuff.
Yeah. I also enjoyed his match with Kanemaru. I did think it was interesting that he picked up 2 points in the beginning, just like last year. I didn't expect him to go on a little run again, just like that. So a little callback there. But I thought the Kanemaru match was fine. I think I like the Taka match a little better. And then, going into night 5, him and Marty, they had a fine match. Everything's been about 3 stars with Tiger Mask.
Yeah, I have all 3 of these matches rated at 3 stars. I think for
his age,
his athleticism right now, his kind of where he's at in his career, I think he's putting on a good little performance. And see, there's a difference there in like Marty putting out a 3-star match and Tiger Mask putting out a 3-star. Like,
yeah,
I'm expecting Marty to be in the 4-star range. Tiger Mask, I'm expecting 3 stars. So
the thing though is that Tiger Mask is really working.
Right, Tiger Mask is trying his hardest.
Marty's not really. It's not even that Marty's not having great matches. I mean, you want a guy to have great matches, but you also want them to be, like, for instance, we're going to talk about Jonathan Gresham here in a moment. I don't think he's having, like, great matches, but he's having really good performances, and he's really working hard, and he's been very impressive on the tour. And when you compare that to a guy like Marty, who's kind of just getting by on his name value and his character, it's not the same thing. It's like I'm at the point where it's like I could do without Marty even being in this tournament anymore. Like I don't look forward to him being in it in 2020.
Well, I mean, it's probably going to be his last tournament.
That's what I'm saying. Like
yeah.
I'm looking forward to him not being in the tournament. If this is what we're going to get from him every year, like I could do without it.
Yeah. So like you mentioned, Jonathan Gresham, the Octopus, 1 and 2 points. We talked about the Skrull match on night 1. On night 3, he had a nice little match with Taka Michinoku. It was a little submission kind of exchange. Had that one at 275. It was fine for what it was.
I think I liked it more than other people, though. I don't know why. It didn't live up to some of the expectations that I think like diehard like grappling enthusiasts had for it.
Yeah,
but I still thought it was good. I think Jonathan Gresham's been very impressive.
Dude, Jonathan Gresham, yeah, he's come to play. He's another guy who's trying to get him a contract.
And the funny thing is, like, I think that's one reason I'm kind of like with Caprice Coleman. He's kind of like doing the Bobby Heenan, Ric Flair thing, where like he's really like because they're friends, and it's adding a lot to his matches the way he's calling those matches. So that's another thing that's really stuck out to me. You know, he took a loss on the first night to Skrull. Picked up 2 points against Taka, as he should, and then dropped a loss to Dragon Lee. So he is kind of one of these guys that's like he's really performing well. He's putting out good matches, but he's probably there to lose to the top guys and kind of just be in the middle of the pack. But I do see big things in his future. He seems to be getting over with the crowd too.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, the crowd have been getting over. They've been cheering him a lot, and yeah, man, he's a great wrestler.
He's really good.
You know, some people might have vendettas against him because of who he dates, but yeah, he's been putting out great performances here.
Yeah, man. Yep. I've been very impressed with Jonathan Gresham. Next up on the list, Teton. So night 1, Teton wrestled Kanemaru. He defeated him, picked up 2.5 stars. The next night, he lost to Shingo. And then on that was night 3. Then night 5, he took a loss to Ishimori. So how are we feeling about Teton?
Honestly, Teton, he's just kind of there for me. Like, he's just been fine. Like, he hasn't done anything outstanding. He hasn't had any performances that have spotlighted him. He hasn't been horrible either. I mean, he's just kind of been having these good little, average matches. I
said it last week. They could have given me almost any other like luchador, and I would have been fine. Like they could have given us Mystico, could have given us Volador, they could have given us Angel de Oro, Soberano, Astuca Jr. Like literally anybody, bro. Yeah. Freaking give us Atlantis Jr. I don't care. I don't know. Teton's fine. He's fine.
I mean, clearly he's there to eat pinfalls.
Here's the weird thing: is like you rated the Shingo and the Ishimori matches a little bit higher, but I think I liked the Kanemaru match as his best match. But I agree with your ratings, as weird as that sounds.
Gotcha.
I think sometimes like match ratings correlate more with like the amount of time guys get to work than anything else, and we don't like acknowledge that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think like I enjoyed the Kanemaru match more than any of the other ones. I like the Shingo and the Ishimori match were a little bit longer, and I just they like you said, they were just there, and I was just like So I don't know. Teton's there, like he's fine. If I was giving a rating, I'd give him like a C, maybe even like a C-.
Yeah. So next up, we have Sho, also 1-2, 2 points. We already kind of gushed about the Shingo Sho match from night 1.
And the Dragon Lee Sho match.
Yeah, we had a question here from Senior Sombrero 3K on Reddit. He said, I think we can mostly agree that Sho versus Takagi has been one of the best matches of the tour so far, if not the best. The long build to the match and ultimately the execution of the match are perfect, in my opinion, and show the company have a bright future plan for Sho. With that in mind, when do you guys think Sho will get the singles push, or will the weak junior tag division, which mostly consists of 3 teams swapping the titles back and forth at present, hold him back?
Sho is going to be the junior ace of this company within 2 years.
I totally agree, and we're seeing the flashes of that in this tournament. Dude, Sho
is the MVP of this tournament.
Yes, he's the MVP of the A block right now.
He's the MVP of the tournament, man. He's the MVP of both blocks. Like, he's the top guy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I forgot who else. Somebody on Twitter I was talking about. And, they're new to New Japan. And they're like, man, Sho has been. I've been hearing about all these Shingos and Ospreay and all these people, but like Sho is the one guy that's like standing out to me the most. And to me too, man. I was like, she's killing it,
bro. Sho's killing it. Every time I watch Sho, I'm getting more and more invested. We've always liked Sho. We've always talked about him. We've always seen the potential. But it's like his performances this year versus last year, they're even further. He's progressed so far. It's like incredible. Even the Sho and Taka match, which you didn't rate too highly, I thought was pretty good. I think Sho, and that was the first time he picked up points in this match, or in this tournament. I ended up liking that Sho Taka match a lot, actually.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have it put in at 3.25. I mean, I thought it was good.
We're gonna talk about Taka in a minute, but Sho's just been so good. When I see him wrestle, I just think to myself, "This is the future. This is the future." He's the MVP of the tournament right now. He's incredible, man.
What do you think about the dark hair and the new music?
Oh, yeah, so we didn't talk about that. So he debuted new music. He stole it straight from TJP. I like the new music. I've heard other people say they think it's corny or they don't like it. I say screw you. It's awesome. You don't know. You have bad taste and you can't read good. No, I'm just playing. But in all honesty, I really like that music. I mean, he's wearing the same, Owen Hart inspired gear that he wore last year.
Yeah.
He looks like the third member of Heavy Machinery. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. He dyed his hair black and Yo dyed his hair blonde, so it's like a role reversal. I think it's been fine either way. I mean, that doesn't really do too much for me, but I think the fact that he has his own music and has a different look in this tournament kind of speaks to them, like kind of giving him a bit more leeway in like a singles push in this tournament. I just again, I can't say it enough. Like, I've been very, very, very impressed with Sho. He's the MVP right now.
Yeah. So now we work our way down to the bottom of the block with 0 points, 0 wins, 3 losses. The heel master, Yoshinobu Kanemaru. So we kind of talked about the Teton match, the Tiger Mask match, the Shingo match already. Any other thoughts on Kanemaru?
Kanemaru's having a good tournament, man.
He is.
He's having a really good tournament. We can just lump them together since we've talked about all these matches. Taka and Kanemaru are 2 guys that I think our excitement levels when we discussed them last week were very low. Mm-hmm. I am very impressed with both of these guys. They are well overperforming what I thought that they would, especially Taka Michinoku. I think Taka Michinoku, this is the best I've seen Taka Michinoku look in years.
Yeah, I mean, but in New Japan, we see him. He's either managing Sabre or he's doing a Suzuki Gun multi-man.
But even beyond that, like his past Super Junior runs, this is better than a lot of that. Like, he's been very reinvigorated. He's been borrowing he's always been a great mat wrestler, but he's been borrowing a lot from Zack Sabre inspired offense. Mm-hmm. Him and Kanemaru have been great foils. I thought I've liked both these guys like a lot, and I'm usually not someone who even likes the Suzuki-gun Juniors that much.
Right.
That's not really my thing. But both guys, even though they've got 0 points, they've been so good in this tournament in a utility role. Like I've been very impressed. Very impressed.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with both of these guys, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing what else they're going to produce in this tournament.
I can't wait till they fight each other.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's gonna be funny.
Yeah, it is, dude. Yeah, that's gonna be hilarious. They're gonna try and out-cheat each other. It's gonna be hilarious.
So before we move on, final thoughts on the A block. We're gonna talk about the B block here in a second, but the A block is kicking B block's ass, and I didn't expect that.
Yeah, normally the B block in these block tournaments is a block that gets loaded up and ends up being the better block. But yeah, A block, man, has been outperforming the B block and have been having the better nights.
Because even there's certain guys that are going to have great matches, and then there's other guys you're like, well, they'll kind of just be there. But like some of those guys that we kind of like maybe, or maybe it was just me, I don't know, but maybe we didn't, we underestimated them,
Yeah.
Because they're performing really well, and like this tour has been really, especially the A block. The A block nights have been really good.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to the B block now. So we're going to start at the top of the leaderboard. El Phantasmo, ELP, 3 wins, 0 losses, undefeated. He has 6 points. We had a question here from Reddit user Asai Yojimbo. He says, what's your take on the build-up for El Phantasmo's New Japan debut and participation in Best of the Super Junior 26 versus the lack thereof for Robbie Eagles going into the Junior Tag League last year? Why do you think New Japan handled them both wrestlers so differently?
Well, a couple things. I think part of it could be the fact that Phantasmo has a lot of backing from management over in Europe versus Robbie kind of coming from the Australian scene, which even though it's like burgeoning, it's not seen in the same kind of light or with the same kind of respect that, it is to have worked over in the UK, especially with how hot the UK scene is and over the past few years, that sort of thing. But I think the other thing is look and charisma probably have a lot to do with it.
Yeah, this guy, ELP, man, he oozes charisma. He comes out, he looks like a star, acts like a star. He's been doing great character work, being a great heel. This guy just comes off as a star, and he just comes off more of a star than Robbie Eagles. Now, I will say this, and we'll talk about Eagles in a second.
Yeah,
I do think in ring, Eagles is better in ring than him.
He's not just a little bit better. I think he's a lot better than Phantasmo. What we both admitted that we weren't very familiar with Phantasmo, and I'm still going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But what I'm feeling like from watching these matches, if you want my honest opinion about El Phantasmo, I think he's a guy who's athletic and who can pull out a couple like cool spots. And the first time you see them, you're pretty impressed. But he's basically Tom McGee.
Oh, wow.
No, okay, that's being a little harsh. But what I mean by that is like, as far as like match structure and psychology and all that, I think he is very lacking. I really do.
Yeah, but you know what? Part of it too, I think he's gonna be one of these guys that kind of doesn't go all out in like a mid-card type of match. I think the real test for him is gonna be this week. He has a main event in Cork and Hall with Will Ospreay. Once he starts getting in the main event, semi-mains, and getting some more time, that's gonna be the real test to see what exactly he can do. Because we'll
see with that.
Yeah. So most of these matches that he's had here have been, either mid-card or the first or second matches.
Dude, him and Bandito should have been a banger, and it was just okay. And there was a lot of botches and some, I was disappointed by that. The Bushi match was kind of just a schmaz. They were choking each other with their shirts a lot, doing a lot of, bull crap. I don't really like the El Phantasmo heel stuff he's doing. I get why they're doing it. I'll say this. Watching Phantasmo, and I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but watching Phantasmo, watching Robbie Eagles, they're both fine, and I'm glad they're in New Japan. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is not the Bullet Club. like when I watch them, I don't. When I watch Ishimori, I think Ishimori's Bullet Club. When I watch those guys, I'm like, it's like they're playing. It's like some guys that just put on some They remind me of all those dudes that like joined the NWO at the end, and you're like, why is Vincent in the NWO? Why is Stevie Ray in the NWO? Like,
yeah, they put the shirt on.
Yeah. Why is Ray Traylor in the NWO? Like, this doesn't make sense. So I'm kind of not like vibing with that. Phantasmo's at the top of the block, but I have been, I would say, less than impressed with him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's been good. He hasn't been great yet.
But they're pushing him like he's great.
Right.
They're pushing him like he is already.
So the Bandito match, I got that one at 3.5. I have the Bushi match 3.5. And then I have the Eagles match on night 6 at 3.25.
I was lower. I was like lower in every single one of those matches.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the stuff that he's been doing, like a lot of his big spots, are good, and
his spots are good, but like the matches themselves, I couldn't tell you what his matches are about, man. I couldn't tell you, except for like he's gonna run up and like step on somebody's dick at some point in the match, and that's like about it. And he's gonna do some flippy shit, but like I don't get Phantasm. You know how like people like Fed Defense squatters don't be liking wrestlers? Like, I don't get them. I don't know what their character is.
That's that Vince McMahon. Goddamn, pal, I don't get him. I don't understand him.
I don't get El Phantasmo, bro. I just don't. I'm sorry.
Man. We had a question from Reddit user Control Alt Wrist. He says, "Help the junior tag division out, guys. What would be your tag teams for Sekigun and Bullet Club?" So for Bullet Club, I really liked the tag match that ELP and Ishimori had against Dragon Lee and Will Ospreay. So I would be, I mean, they came off working better than Ishimori and Eagles did. So I would go with either ELP and Ishimori, or I'd go ELP and Eagles just based on the chemistry that they had facing each other. I think they would end up being a great tag team.
Yeah, I would keep Phantasmo and Eagles together. They've been cutting some really great promos. That's the one thing I will say. They've been cutting some really funny promos in the back. And, Ishimori's the junior ace. I don't want him to be, for the Bullet Club, I don't want him to be tied up in the tag team. Give that to Phantasmo and Eagles. Now for Sekigun, who is part of that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Are there any juniors? I mean, Taguchi?
Liger and Tiger Mask.
And Taguchi.
Yeah.
And who else?
That's it. All the other juniors are in factions, right?
Pretty much. Unless you count Young Lions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you set us up for failure, man.
I mean, everybody's either in Chaos or Suzuki-gun or LIJ.
I mean, unless you count, like, the foreigners that come in for these, like, one-shots, like a Jonathan Gresham or something like that, or a Dragon Lee, which I kind of don't, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't count them.
Man, just give us Tiger Mask and Liger. Let's call it a day.
Yeah.
We don't need to help out the junior division. They already got their tag teams. They good.
So anything else on ELP?
I hope he gets better, man. I hope he gets better because I'm not digging this.
Dude, this week's going to be the test in Corkin.
The one thing I will say, he has a good look. He does have a lot of charisma.
I get Prince Devitt vibes from him.
I wouldn't go that far. But he's getting over. So I understand why they're doing what they're doing, but I think he's kind of shit in the ring.
I wouldn't go that far.
I would. He's not very good, man. He's not.
I wouldn't say shit, but there's definitely some.
He's not good.
I would say he's good.
No, I would,
but he's not. We haven't seen greatness.
I gotta see more, but like, I'm not even saying he's not great. I'm saying he's not very good, man. Like, and I don't come out here and say that very often.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll have to figure out. We'll see what he produces the rest of this week. So next up, also 3-0 with 6 points, the aerial assassin Will Ospreay.
Yep. So as expected, Ospreay is the MVP of the B block. I know I said Show was the MVP of the entire tournament, but I mean, you can make the same argument for Will Ospreay. He's been excellent, really, 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 really good. Night 2, he defeated Bushi. Night 4, he defeated Rocky Romero. Night 6, he defeated Yo. And I thought that all these matches were very good.
Yeah, night 2 with Bushi, they were playing up on the story from last year's tournament where Bushi got a surprise win over him and kind of teasing that Bushi would beat him again. Well, Ospreay was overcome that obstacle and beat Bushi in a pretty good match. I got that one at 3.75.
Which, by the way, Bushi never got a title shot off that at all. Like it didn't. it led to nothing for him.
Yeah, geek. Dude, night 4, Ospreay versus Rocky Romero, our good friend Rocky Romero. Dude, we were kind of doubting, Rocky's output for this tournament. And
who are you to doubt? Rocky Romero.
Azuka Romero. These guys killed it, man, in the semi-main of night 4. I got that at 4 1/4.
It's my second favorite match of the tournament so far.
Yeah. We had a question here from Reddit user Control Alt Wrist. It says there have been some criticism that it shouldn't take top guy like Ospreay 25 plus minutes to beat Rocky Romero. What's your take on this? Would you rather see clear picking order and a good match or a great match?
Have you not listened to the commentary of the great Lanny Poffo? He's told us how great this man Rocky Romero is, but apparently nobody was listening.
Nobody has the speed of a Rocky Romero. Nobody has the stamina of a Rocky Romero.
Yeah, like we should have listened. Like everyone was talking crap about how bad Lanny Poffo was, but he was out here telling the truth.
He had the vision.
He was a Rocky Romero truther.
Yeah. Rocky Defense Squad.
Yeah, Rocky Defense. The Rocky Defense Squad. Yeah, man. This match was really, really good.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with him going 25 minutes with Rocky because I think you are still establishing the pecking order with who's winning the match. Obviously, Ospreay won, so the pecking order is still very clear who's ahead of who. But I like the fact that you have a good competitive match. It shows you why Rocky's in this tournament in the first place.
I mean, what kind of match was it? It was a face versus face match. It was a technical style wrestling match. It was very, very methodical and slow built and slow. It wasn't a war where Ospreay was out here hitting him with hidden blades and shit. You know what I'm saying? Right. It wasn't bombs away. Towards the end, the last 5 minutes, yeah, you got a lot of that stuff, but the whole build for the first 18 minutes of the match wasn't like that. It was like what you would expect from a classic face versus face respectful sort of grappling contest. It didn't make it seem to me like Ospreay was getting outclassed or Romero was out of his element or something. It was very clear what we were seeing there. And also, Ospreay's working mostly, main events almost every night or semi-main events?
He's worked, I think, all semi-mains so far.
Okay. But, I mean, he's getting a lot of time in his matches.
Yeah, we mentioned this match went 25 minutes, 45 seconds. I mean, the crowd they were so bought into Rocky Romero and any near fall that he had over Ospreay. They were digging it. They were into it.
Rocky was excellent. And that's the other thing, too. Rocky was getting, desperation upset sort of near falls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were slick and tricky, from a wily vet who was trying to utilize the element of surprise and utilize that unexpectedness in a match like that to pick up a big victory. And people were bought in on it. It didn't tell me that Rocky belonged in the same class as him. I mean, I don't know. I feel like here's the thing. Should Bret Hart have gone, all that time with 1-2-3 Kid on Monday Night Raw?
Probably not.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But he was a fighting champion. That's the kind of guy that Will Ospreay comes off to me, and he elevates guys in matches instead of demotes them. Ospreay's not gonna come out here and demolish anybody in these best Super Junior matches. It's just not the kind of guy that he that's not what he's
very generous.
Yeah.
Ospreay's the first guy that will be, volunteer to put someone over.
He's very generous unless you're hey, do you want to do a drop for my podcast? Then maybe not so much. But yeah, I think that it's clear in the pecking order that Ospreay is not losing in this tournament. He might lose two matches at the most. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And I thought that this was fine. There was at no point where I was watching it and I was like, this is stupid. Why is Rocky going? I mean, guys, like, Rocky Romero is, like, I understand at this point he's, like, not in the same place as he was when he was in, like, you know, Roppongi Vice and, you know, all his earlier runs and that sort of thing. But still, I mean, Rocky still can go, and it's still Best Super Juniors, and it's still a semi-main event.
Yeah, I mean, the commentary told a great story, you know, about Rocky, you know, training for this tournament and just how he wants to prove that he can still wrestle. Yeah. And then night 6, a match with Yo. Another great match. I had that one at 4 1/4 also.
That was really good, too. And Ospreay, we've complained a lot in the past about, first it was like he couldn't sell. He wasn't selling at all. And then it was like, well, he sells all the time, but he whines. And
that screaming, yeah.
And then it turned into screaming. Now he's kind of settled into this place where he doesn't do that so much, but his selling is getting really good.
Yeah.
Like, really good.
Yo was working the leg majority of this matchup here. A lot of chop blocks, figure fours, trying to slow down the aerial assassin, and Ospreay did an excellent job. This is another situation where they had a great body part leg match. Ospreay did a great job selling the leg, not doing anything too unbelievable.
There was some parts where it was a little bit... That was the one thing with that match that I think did bring it down. He did do... You're right. He did a good job selling the leg, but, like, he'd come down and, like... I don't know. There's just some stuff... Like, he did too much on it, I think.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing with it.
But, yeah, I thought it was a great match. And I thought it was a great showcase for Yo. This match was designed to get Yo over.
The near submission spots were, like, incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, Yo's been having a great tournament. Ospreay's the clear head and shoulders guy in this block right now, and I mean, yeah, he's killing it.
Yeah.
So,
anything else on Ospreay?
It looks like we're heading to an eventual Ospreay Phantasmo clash. What is that this week?
May 22nd. Yep. Main event of Corkin.
It's gonna be a big one. That is a big one. Like, that might actually be one of the determinants of who wins this tournament. So yeah. That's a big one. Let's talk about the next guy who is also undefeated and at the top of the mother effing block. The coach, Ryosuke Taguchi.
Yes, Taguchi, undefeated, 6 points. Has been in the main event.
I told you. All y'all listening, trying to be like, oh, Josh back on his bullshit. Listen, nah, man. I'm telling you, Taguchi is going to get like at least 10 or 12 points in this tournament. He's already got 6.
You're right.
I know.
Are you happy?
It's not even about me being happy. It's just like everyone's like, no, this dude's not gonna perform, blah 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 blah. And it's like he's in the finals on the final night against Will Ospreay. Come on.
Yeah, so let's talk about his performances here. So night 2, he took on Yo. Night 4, he took on Doki, and night 6, he took on Bushi.
Okay, so the first night, him and Yo had a banger.
Yeah, I had that one at 4 stars.
Really good match. But then night 4 and night 6 were kind of just... Well, night 4 was really bad. That match with Doki was bad. Yeah. And then the match with Bushi was just fine. It was whatever. It was like a 3-star affair.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know what they were thinking on night 4. So obviously, the original slated main event was Taguchi and Desperado. With that, you see... Okay, we lost Desperado. We got Doki now. Like, what universe is Taguchi versus Doki sound like a great main event?
Yeah, they literally just slotted the replacement guys
in the exact
same spots.
Like, I was like, let me just erase, change the name. Everything is good now.
Yeah, they didn't switch it around. Like, they didn't switch the order.
Like, yeah, I would have been like, oh, well, I'm putting Ospreay and Romero in the main event that night.
They didn't do that.
Nah. Yeah. Not changing the card. Yeah, so, yeah, Doki and Taguchi.
That was bad.
I was antsy for that one to be finished.
Yeah, that was bad. And then the Taguchi-Bushi match was just fine. We'll talk about Bushi.
Fine. I mean, it was a lot of shenanigans. Bushi was working over the ass. A lot of attacks on Taguchi's ass with atomic drops and kicks and stuff like that.
Taguchi has been saying really ridiculous things in his post-match
interviews
and stuff. At one point, he was like, he sprayed it all over my face. Oh my God, it's all over me.
Yeah.
He's talking about the mist, but I'm like, what the heck's wrong with this dude?
Yeah, dude. This man's a clown.
He's a pervert, bro.
Yeah.
But, so Taguchi is 3-0, 6 points. He's got a commanding lead in this tournament, and he is on a collision course with Will Ospreay.
Yeah. Anything else on Taguchi?
He's going to the semis. That's what's happening. It's going to come down to him, Ospreay, and Phantasmo. I am a little surprised that all the guys that we think are going to be near the finals, though, are all in the lead already. And a lot of times I'm used to seeing stuff where some of these guys take losses early and then work their way back. But they haven't done that yet. So we are still in for some sort of...
Yeah, we
haven't gotten any like real upsets when it comes to the mega guys yet. The biggest upset might be Ishimori beating
Dragon Lee,
and it's not really an upset. It's not really that much of an upset.
But I mean, we got a lot more nights left, so there's plenty of time for upsets and guys having to work their way back from. I'm just used to some of it happening in the beginning, but we're like firmly in place to be like, oh, this is exactly what I predicted. Nah, Chief, we're getting some upsets pretty soon. It's coming. Yeah. So next up, we got the Sniper of the Skies, Robbie Eagles. He has 2 wins, 1 loss, 4 points. What are your thoughts on Mr. Eagles?
Robbie's been good. He hasn't been great. He's been about what I've always thought of Robbie Eagles. He hasn't shown me anything yet, like he's got like I'm someone who needs to show. I don't think he's shown us anything yet that really like has blown us away. Mm-hmm. But he's good.
I've enjoyed him a lot better in this tournament than I had the Super Junior Tag League.
I would agree with that, but not by much yet.
Yeah, I mean, I literally have all 3 of his matches rated at 3.25.
Right, and I would agree with that.
All good little matches. Night 2 he took on Rocky Romero in a good little match. Night 4 he took on Narita, and actually that was a nice little match with Narita.
Yeah.
And then night 6, he took on ELP, which we kind of already talked about. Anything else? I mean, nothing really too much to say about Eagles. I mean, he's been plugging away, having good little matches.
He's in this tournament. He's here. I don't think he stands out, but I don't think he's bad. I think that he does come off, like I said last week, as the C League or like the third string junior guy in the Bullet Club, and I was hoping he would do a little bit more to kind of differentiate himself. I can't criticize him too much because it's not like he's been working a lot of main events or anything like that. Right. So I think there's still time for us to see what he has to offer.
Right.
But Robbie doesn't ooze charisma or character. You know what I mean? Like he's just kind of like a flippy, like he's like every indie guy you've ever seen, except he wears bandanas.
Yeah,
honestly.
So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think the Ospreay match, I think that's the one to look out for coming up. I think that's going to be the one that kind of helps him break out in this tournament.
That's true, but here's my one criticism about that. We keep saying that about guys like Phantasmo and Robbie Eagles, and it's like we're waiting for them to work with the one guy who's who's a top 5 worker in the world and can make anybody look better than they really are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about when they fight Yo, or what about when they fight Bandito, or what about when they fight Taguchi? Because those are like the real tests. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anybody can go out there and, bro. Will Ospreay doesn't know how to have less than a 4-star singles match.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he just doesn't do that like anymore. Last year, every night in every company all year, he was just going around having He's like, Will Ospreay's the modern day Ric Flair. He's got like, I'm not saying that he's formulaic, but like this man can't have bad matches. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, if we're all waiting for Robbie Eagles to have a great match because he's gonna wrestle Will Ospreay, it's like, well, that's kind of bullcrap. Like, I want to see what him and Rocky Romero do or whatever. Or, we've seen some of these matches already, but we saw him in Romero, but whatever. But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I do feel like Korakuen Hall is a different feel, and like I think this week, especially, I think these shows are going to be a big test for these guys.
I agree, but it's like if we're depending on them to have the one great match that they've had in the past with Will Ospreay, but just on Japanese soil in front of these fans, that's fine, and that might do a lot for them, and that's great, but it doesn't tell me anything, because Will Ospreay can have a match like that with any of these guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I bet you Will Ospreay and Doki will end up being fire, and we'll be like, Doki's better than we thought he was. No, man, he's fighting Will Ospreay. It doesn't tell me anything.
Oh man, we'll get to Doki in a few minutes. But up next, we have one half of the IWGP Junior Tag Team Champions, one half of Roppongi 3K. Yo, 1 win, 2 losses. Night 2, he lost to Taguchi in a very good match. Then night 4, he lost to Bandito. Night 6, he lost to Ospreay. So what do you been thinking about Yo?
I think that Yo is having one of the best tournaments of anybody in the tournament. I would say he is behind only Will Ospreay in the B block when it comes to performance. And it's kind of an unsung thing because he's had 2 losses and he's had very good matches, but they're not classics, kind of like the Sho Shingo. Mm-hmm. But I mean, everything's been around 4 stars the whole time for him. Every match has been really good. He's having a better tournament than he did last year, and last year was a good tournament.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised that he got the win on Bandito.
I wasn't. I don't think that they're going to push Bandito. Like, I don't think that's what he's here to do. I think he's here to be like one of those CMLL guys. I think we said that last week.
Right. But I don't know. I just thought that if Bandito was going to beat anybody in this block, I feel like Yo would have been one of the guys.
Bandito's going to beat guys.
Yeah, I just figured Yo would be one of those guys that he would beat.
Nah, man. I think that Yo's going to get pushed to the same. Last year, if you remember, Yo and Sho had the same point totals.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to note, they did all that work over on Voices of Wrestling, and they noted how that they had both taken equal amount of pinfalls and losses in tag team matches throughout the year. I think New Japan is at this point not ready to break either one of them off from each other, so they book them pretty even. And I think it's no wonder that they have the exact same point total going into, after 6 nights. Mm. So I'm not surprised that he would beat a Bandito, because if you put Sho against Bandito, I think Sho wins that as well.
Gotcha.
And that's how I feel about Yo. I think Yo has to beat people so that he can have a similar point total to Sho.
Yeah, but overall, I think Yo's been putting out a great performance. We talked about the Taguchi match.
That was great.
That was very great. 4 stars. The Bandito match, I got that at 3.75. Then we talked about the Ospreay match, which was 4.25. They're doing a lot to highlight Yo here in the B block, and like you mentioned, right under Ospreay, man, he's shining.
Yo and Ospreay are having the 2 best tournament performances so far in the B block.
Yeah.
So yeah, real good. Let's talk about next up, Bandito, the guy that we were most excited about in the entire B block. He's sitting at 2 points, 1 and 2. He had a match with El Fantasma the first night. He lost. He had a night 4 match with Yo. He took a loss there, and then he picked up his first 2 points on night 6, defeating Doki.
Yeah, and you know what, man? So far, I gotta say, I have not been thrilled with Bandito's performance in the tournament. Like you mentioned, we were most excited about this guy in the B block. I was expecting 4-star plus matches from him all 3 nights, and we didn't really quite get that. And he really hasn't, done anything super impressive or really. He hasn't really shined in this tournament.
A lot of what I've seen from Bandito has been tag matches. I haven't watched a lot of Bandito have singles matches since I've been a fan of him, if I'm being totally honest. Mm-hmm. I've seen some impressive stuff in Ring of Honor, and I should take that back. I've seen some of his stuff in PWG, but for whatever reason, it seems like he hasn't really gotten his bearings here in Japan just yet.
Yeah.
For the amount of hype that has been behind him to come into this tournament, it's been surprising, like how underperforming he's been so far. I'm not ready throw in the book. Like, I'm not going to give him, like, the same kind of treatment I'm giving Phantasmo because I know how good Bandito actually is.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, he's not having as good of a tournament as, say, Flip Gordon had last year, and I think he's way better than Flip. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of his tournament plays out. Night 2, he lost to ELP. Talked about that already. He had that 3.5. Night 4, he lost to Yo. Had that 3.75.
The Yo match was good.
Yeah.
The Yo match was good. And then the one thing we can say, him and Doki had probably what's Doki's best match.
Yeah, he gave Doki his best match. I had that at 3.25. And yeah, that looked really good. I guess I think they were familiar with each other from Mexican Indies.
Yes, that's correct.
And so yeah, they were able to.
I think they have a training background together as well.
Gotcha.
So that makes a little bit of sense.
So they were able to work well together and end up having a little good match there on night 6.
But I expected like Bandito to be the guy in this block. I really did.
So did I. Yeah,
and it hasn't panned out that way so far. So. Kind of surprised by that. Next guy, the infamous Doki.
Yeah, 1 win, 2 losses at 2 points. Man, I saw Doki, saw his look, saw some of his promos. I was like, you know what? He looks pretty cool. Kind of digging the whole character, digging, being a Suzuki-gun hitman kind of thing. And, I think the guy stinks, man.
I don't think he stinks. I don't like Doki, but I don't think he stinks.
I think he's just an average old indie guy. Like,
I agree.
This is not a guy that should be in the Best of Super Junior tournament.
Yeah, I would kind of agree with that. Well, I don't totally agree with it. Here's the thing. Throughout all of history and time, these tournaments always need to have somebody that you can kind of like take it easy on and kind of have an easy off night. I think what Doki's like role here is to kind of facilitate sort of like what Taka or Kanemaru or even Despy kind of fill, like being that grimy, cheating heel, sort of like a Fale spot. Not giving praise to Fale, and that's not even a good comparison, obviously, 'cause we've had our fair share of criticism against Fale. But in a big grueling tournament like this, you kind of want to have a guy that people can have an off night with so that they're not just dead. You know what I mean? Right. Not saying that we want that, but management.
Right.
We kind of know what Doki's role is here and what kind of guy he is. Here's what I'll say about Doki. Before I saw Doki, all I heard was people talk about how awful he was. Like, they were acting like the way that people were talking was like he's botching, he's fucking up every match, he like literally sucks. And then I came in and I watched him and so I thought like, oh, this guy must be abysmal. You know what I mean? Like, I won't say any names, but like there's some wrestlers out there that you're like, oh wow, they really can't work. Like, this is bad. I watched him in Narita. I wasn't impressed. I didn't like the match. I thought it was kind of boring. But it wasn't bad. Like, in the sense of, like, the way people are acting about Doki, they're acting like he can't wrestle. He can wrestle. He's just not an exciting wrestler.
Right. I don't think he's up to New Japan standard.
Well, that might be true. The one thing, though, is he did have that... He had a better match with Bandito. And I feel like part of it just is, like, this guy's been on, like, the Mexican indie scene literally for, like, all these years and, like, might not be as familiar with working this style. I do feel like he's getting night after night a little bit more acclimated to it. That's not me saying that he should be here or whatever, but I just kind of like, I kind of see it for what it is. Like, he was a late replacement and he's kind of getting his feet wet. I'm not going to bury him the way everybody else is because I don't think he's as bad as everyone's saying he is. I just think he's not good. You know what I mean?
Right. I honestly don't think he has any place in this tournament. I get it was a last minute replacement. That's who they had to get. But
man, you would have hated some of those old champion carnivals, man. Like, I don't know. I always feel like there's a spot for like a not so great wrestler.
Right. But he wasn't. They didn't have that slated in this block before, though.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. Who did he replace?
Desperado.
Yeah, and that Desperado is going to have a great tournament.
Yeah.
So things changed quite a bit. I mean, again, I don't think Doki's like a great wrestler or anything. I just think he's just working like a really boring style.
Yeah, and if you're cherry picking, I think all of his matches are skippable.
They've all been skippable. You don't have to watch Doki at all. Not whatsoever. My whole thing is people are acting like he's... Because I don't want to say he's... Like, he is bad. Like, don't get me wrong. He is bad in the sense of, like, he's not doing anything worth watching.
Right.
He's boring. But people are overblowing it and acting like he can't wrestle. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, he can wrestle. He's just not a good wrestler.
Right. I mean, he's somebody I expect...
Well, he's just not exciting.
Right.
He's fine. Like, he's a fine... Like, he's like an old school, like, beat him up, cheat a lot, boring kind of wrestler guy.
Right. I mean, that's somebody I expect to see at a local indie show.
Right. But
not in the best Super Juniors.
But he's competent. That's my whole thing. Is people are acting like he's not competent, and I'm like, well, he is competent. He's doing exactly what he wants to do.
Right.
We just don't like it.
Right.
That's the difference.
Right. Yeah.
But people are acting like he... Like, the way people were talking beforehand was like he is incapable. I don't even know if it's that he's not capable. I think he might just not be wanting to do all that shit. You know, I don't know.
Well, we'll see. We have several more nights of Doki matches.
I do agree him and Taguchi should never have been a main event. That was a bad call.
Yeah. Like, seriously, like, come on, Gato. Like,
I think the thing that really threw me off, though, is I heard some people really burying the Narita match, and I was like... I mean, it was fine. It was just whatever. It was just a normal match, you know?
It was fine for what it was. I had that one at 2.5. I had the Taguchi match at 2. And then I got the Bandito at 3.25.
You had Taguchi and Doki at 2, but you had Ishimori and Skrull at 3?
Yeah.
You might want to rethink that one. That Ishimori Skrull match was worse than Doki and Taguchi. Oh, it was. For sure.
Maybe I need to rewatch it, but I don't think.
Don't rewatch it. Just go with your heart.
Well, my heart says 3-2.
Your heart is wrong. Go with my heart.
Oh man, but yeah, I did not. I know some people rated the Taguchi Doki a little bit higher than I did, but dude, I was antsy for the show to be over. I wanted the match to be over.
It was bad.
I didn't like anything in the match. I was like, just go home.
Yes.
Just go home. That's how I was feeling during that match.
Yeah, we chanted that before.
We
chanted that. Oh, actually, you weren't with us. We chanted that at Joey Janela and Fred Yehai.
Okay.
That match. Yeah. But anyway, so that's Doki. Let's talk about someone who's been surprisingly good on this tour. Not surprisingly, but like he's overperforming what expectations had been. Rocky Asuka Romero.
Yes, the leader of Chaos. Yeah, man. Rocky has been killing it, man.
Yeah.
Night 2 faced off against Eagles, took a loss there. Had that one at 3.25. Night 4, we talked about the Ospreay match. Had that at 4.25. Then on night 6, he got his first win of the tournament, taking on Ren Narita. Had that one at 3.5.
That to me, that means Narita's done. He's probably not picking up a win in this tournament. We'll talk about it in a minute, but
yeah. But I thought Rocky gave Narita a lot in that match.
He did,
and I think he really helped Narita get over in that match.
Psh, get over? He's been over. What you talking about?
I mean, to the wider audience, we've been on the Narita bandwagon.
Everybody knows about Narita. Everybody knows Narita's over. He's over in these streets. I don't care what no one says. No, but you're absolutely right, man. He did a lot to help Narita. Rocky's just been really good in this tournament. Like, we know he can wrestle, we know he can be good, but like he's been above what he normally is. Been very, very good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of Rocky's tournament. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have a great remainder of the tournament.
Yep, and then we have Bushi sitting at 0 points, 3 losses. He had a match with Ospreay. He lost to El Phantasmo, and then he lost to Taguchi, the 3-point leaders of the tournament. So it kind of makes sense why he has no wins so far. He got a pretty rough lineup of guys to go through. Mm-hmm. Bushi, like we talked about, is a guy that usually does pretty well in these tournaments. I'm expecting him to actually have quite a few wins for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, I don't expect him to lose many more matches after this.
But even though he's having okay matches, I haven't been into Bushi at all this tournament. His matches have been like largely forgettable for me, even the Ospreay one. Yeah,
Bushi's almost in a Teton situation where he's just kind of been there.
Yep.
His opponents have been the highlight of the matches. Obviously, the Ospreay.
He's just a way more over Teton.
Pretty much, yeah. The Taguchi main event, we kind of talked about that. Had that 3 flat. Wasn't really thrilled about that one. Bushi's just kind of there for me.
And then we have, sitting also at 0 points, Ren Narita. He took losses to Doki, Robbie Eagles, and Rocky Romero. And, I wish I had more interesting things to say about Ren Narita. I think he's been fine. I think he's doing as well as could be hoped for, but he's just in that young Lions role here. What have your thoughts been?
I thought he's been good as usual. Narita always has good matches and always shows a lot of fire and intensity. I thought he's good. The one thing I do love that they have been doing in the Narita matches is the belly-to-belly spots they've been doing. So his finisher is a high gable grip, belly-to-belly. He snaps and hits it with a pin. But in several of these matches, he's been able to do the belly-to-belly, but he hasn't been able to float over and get the pin. So he only gets a near fall. So I do like they've been doing that with him and kind of establishing, if he can hit the grip and get the pin afterward, it would be over. But because he is not getting that bridging pin, that he's not getting the win. So I do like that they've been doing that, and I just feel they've been doing a great job of giving him a lot, but not also making him look too strong. And the Rocky Romero match, I think, is the best match so far in the tournament.
For him?
Yeah, for Narita. I think he's been looking good.
I did hear I was listening to another show, and they're like, this might be a hot take, but I think Ren Narita has actually surpassed Shota Umino. I was like, bitch, he been surpassed Shota Umino. Shota Umino's never been as good as Ren Narita. What you talking about?
That's why
since day one, bro.
Umino's trying to get on Narita's level.
Yeah, what are they talking? Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh, speaking of oh my god, how about Mick Foley just came out on Monday Night Raw and announced the 24/7 title, a green belt that looks like the WBC belt from boxing, and it's a belt that can be defended anywhere, anytime, 24/7. So basically, it's the hardcore title without being the hardcore title. It's just 24/7 rules.
Interesting. So moving on.
Do you think that New Japan should adopt this gimmick? Have 24/7 rules?
No.
Like that video where where Liger was trying to pin everybody while they're sleeping.
Actually, that was hilarious.
If y'all ain't seen that video, there's a video online of Liger trying to pin the wrestlers in the dojo while they're sleeping, and he tried to pin Tanahashi, but Tanahashi was sleeping with
one shoulder up.
Yeah. This man never puts both shoulders down.
Yeah. He failed the pin. Except he got the pin on Hanma.
Yeah, he got the pin on Hanma. It's mad funny.
Dude, I sleep on my stomach, man. Don't sleep on my back.
It's not good for you, actually. It's bad for you.
I hate being on my back, man. I want my shoulders on the mat, man.
I know what you're saying, and it's funny, but I'm worried for your health. This is not good for you. You need to sleep on your back, man. It's better for you.
It's uncomfortable, dude. I don't feel comfortable being on my back, man.
Man, you're going to get scoliosis. But anyway, so that is going to wrap it up for the B block. My main final thoughts just about the B block is it is I guess it's not surprising, but I didn't expect the exclusions of Desperado and Flip Gordon to have such drastic effects on the quality of matches in this in the B block, but it really has, surprisingly. So
yeah, that was a big blow to the B block.
Big blow, but it's not like it's not like either of these blocks have been disasters or anything. They've been fine. It's still been a very entertaining tournament. I will say this though, people that are watching this tournament, I've seen a lot of people really giving a lot of praise, and as such they should, but it's nowhere near last year's level of tournament. Nowhere near.
Yeah.
Like, not even close.
It's not even a knock. It's just facts. Like,
it's just facts.
Last year's tournament, man, with Hiromu, man.
Hiromu was putting on, like, over 4-star matches every night the entire tournament, plus all the other, like, there was just so many guys that were putting on bangers last year. It was crazy.
Yeah.
This been a good tournament with, I'm hoping it gets better as time goes on.
Yeah.
But
there was one question we missed from Reddit user Maserati, and he asked, it was about Doki.
Oh, God.
Was Doki holding El Desperado's mask when he came down to the ring on a few of these shows? I'm not sure if they explained it or I'm just mistaken. He was holding a mask that was at least very similar. Yes, that was Desperado's mask that he was holding.
Yeah, it's the mask he was wearing during the death match he had with Jun Kasai at Taka Taichi Mania. And so I think he's doing that. Like, obviously he's aligned and associated with LIJ or with Suzuki-gun during this tournament. And I think the fact that he's kind of carrying the mask that he was wearing when he got injured, kind of just paying honor to him because he should be in the tournament and he's not, basic sort of thing.
Right. So, yeah, that's on that.
Before we go into the news, I want to address something. This is unrelated to this tournament, but I think it needs to be stated. So I heard something this week. Last week, I was listening to Wrestling Observer Radio, and they were doing mailbag questions, and somebody asked the question about Hulk Hogan and him winning the first ever IWGP title during the 1983 IWGP tournament, which is the precursor to what became the G1. Mm-hmm. And he was asking whether or not it was a work or a shoot, the fact that he knocked out Inoki and got a count-out win to win that tournament, and why he wasn't, even though he got a belt and he was called the IWGP champion, why he isn't considered a former IWGP champion. And Dave answered this question, and he answered correctly in saying that Inoki and New Japan actually lied to the media, saying that it was actually a shoot when it wasn't. It was a planned work, and it hurt the credibility of New Japan in the eyes of the press, which is true. That did happen. But then he said that Hulk Hogan, in his eyes, should be considered a former IWGP champion because he won the tournament to crown the best wrestler in the world and was awarded the belt. And he's like, yeah, he didn't defend it a lot or anything, but he was the IWGP champion. It's part of the same lineage. I want to address this very strongly and let all of you know who heard this, or if you haven't heard it, let's just make it very clear. Hulk Hogan is not a former IWGP champion. Winning the IWGP tournament did not make you an IWGP champion. That championship did not get instituted until 1987 as an actual championship that was defended regularly. Prior to that, it was literally just a tournament. It would literally be the same thing. Like, winning that tournament was kind of like the same thing as Braun Strowman winning that belt over in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, from the greatest Royal Rumble or whatever.
Same thing. Another example of this, and this is actually a more close understanding. In the UFC, they have a heavyweight championship now that is held by Daniel Cormier. It goes all the way back to Mark Coleman. He was the first ever UFC heavyweight champion. He actually defeated the super fight champion, quote unquote, which was Dan the Beast Severn. That was in 1997. Prior to that championship existing, they never had titles. They just had tournaments, and they would have weight. At first, there was no weight classes, and then eventually they had heavyweight and light heavyweight tournaments. And so, if you were to win that year's or that event's heavyweight tournament, you were considered the UFC 12 heavyweight tournament winner.
Right.
When they look at the history of that title lineage, they don't count any of the tournament winners as former champions of the UFC, and neither would Dave. So there's no way Hulk Hogan winning the IWGP Tournament Championship made him the actual IWGP champion. Just because he had a belt does not mean he was the champion. This shouldn't even be something that is up for debate. I heard this. It bothered the crap out of me. It really bothered me. There should be no mistaking. Hulk Hogan is not a former IWGP heavyweight champion. He's not one of those guys.
So don't come out here trying to defend this. Don't try and be a Hulk Hogan defense squatter.
And if Hogan won it and he was a former champion, I'd be like, yeah, Hogan's a former IWGP champion. But he's not.
There's a reason why he's not in the Parade of Champions in the beginning of the videos.
Now, did he win the IWGP tournament in 1983? Yeah, he won it. Does that mean he's the equivalent of their world champion? No.
So we just have a quick.
Also, if he won it, then you'd also have to say that Andre the Giant won it because he won it in 1985. And you'd have to say that Inoki is a 3-time champion instead of a 1-time champion because he also won the tournament in 84 and 86. So, again, what are we talking about here?
Yeah. So moving on to the news. So, a couple quick items here. Jushin Thunder Liger has been announced for the G1 Climax 29 show in Dallas.
He's actually going to be in the G1.
No. Don't get people's hopes up. Get that misinformation out there.
Night 1, he's wrestling Suzuki. It's happening.
So adding on another U.S. date to the retirement tour. New Japan announced him as being a part of this G1 Climax tour and being on the July 6th show in Dallas. His opponent has not been announced yet. I don't think it'll be Suzuki because I'm assuming Suzuki will be in the G1 Climax tournament.
It's going to be a multi-man match.
Yeah.
But you know what? We were in New York, and I thought that'd be the last time I ever see Liger live. But now I get to see him again in Dallas. This is kind of dope.
So that'll be cool. Another show announcement from New Japan. Lions Break Project 2 will be happening in Anaheim, California. This will be taking place at the Anaheim Convention Center on Saturday, December 7th and Sunday, December 8th. The shows are a part of the Chara Expo USA 2019, which is put on by Bushi Road. And we know the first Lions Break event, it featured the young Lions from the LA dojo, Alex Coughlin, Clark Connors, and Carl Fredericks, and all three of those guys have been announced for this Lions Break show. And we've been seeing these guys kind of pop up in Ring of Honor and Rev Pro and a couple other places, and they're looking really great.
Yeah, I really recommend the match from Rev Pro that was just uploaded to NJPW World. Like, if you get a chance, check out that tag match with them and CCK, I believe it was. Really good match.
And then, speaking of dojo, we have two guys from Australia coming to the New Japan dojo. Liam Fury and Patrick Shishishka. I'm not sure if I'm saying that last name correctly. But those guys are heading over to the New Japan dojo.
Yes. Any final thoughts?
Not really, man. That's pretty much all that I have for the news this week. Was there anything else that you saw?
Nope, just this. So we've got next week we're going to be covering the rest of the second week of Best of the Super Juniors. We've got a show coming up on the 22nd from Cork and Hall, another Cork and Hall show on the 23rd, another Cork and Hall show on the 24th, and then we've got a show from Chiba on May 26th. The 22nd and the 23rd are double block nights, as well as the 24th. Is the 26th as well?
I think it is.
Wow. So we have 4 nights over the next week. That's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. We have, how many matches is that? 10 a night? So that's 40 matches?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, man. There's no undercard to skip here.
Yep.
So, yeah, man. Looking forward to those Cork and Hall shows. The Cork and audience is always, great for these shows, and I think it's going to help elevate these matches, so looking forward to that.
Yep, so no fluff, just steak and potatoes, so it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to the rest of this tournament.
Yeah, it should be fun. And before we sign off here, real quick, Pro Wrestling Tees, they are having their spring into summer sale, 20% off everything. By the time you hear this podcast, the sale should be ongoing. So the sale is from May 21st to May 27th. 20% off everything, which means you can get 20% off a Keeping It Strong Style t-shirt, 20% off a Ricky and Clive wrestling shirt, 20% off of a One Nation Radio shirt, 20% off a Social Suplex Podcast Network t-shirt. Guys, we really need your guys' support here. We want to see you guys rocking these shirts. Check out the Pro Wrestling Tees spring and summer sale this week and grab you some Social Suplex merch.
Guys, I crashed my car this week. Can you just like buy a shirt or something, or start a GoFundMe for me, or like do something? I need help.
Yeah, buy all proceeds of Keeping a Strong Style shirts will go to Young Boy's car fund
indefinitely. Like, we'll be making some payments with those.
Well, that's it. We're gonna wrap things up for this week. So, like Josh mentioned, we'll be back next week with more Best of Super Junior tournament coverage and all the latest news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Make sure to connect with us on social media. You can follow the show at KI Strong Style, also at Social Suplex. You can follow me at Jeremy L. Donovan. On Facebook, we are facebook.com/Social Suplex. You can join us in the Wrestling Squared Circle Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Wrestling Squared Circle. On Reddit, I am the Pro Black Guy. Josh is Keeping It Strong Style. You can email me, Jeremy at socialsuplex.com. Make sure you check out all the other shows on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. On Sundays, we have One Nation Radio, hosted by Rich Latta and James Boyd. On Wednesdays, we have the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show from Scotland. Every other Wednesday, we have our podcast dedicated to independent wrestling, Grown Men Watch This Shit, hosted by Jeremy Tate and Chris Bryan. On Thursdays, we have NXT Then, Now, and Forever with James Boyd and a rotating co-host. And then on Saturdays, we have All Things Elite with Floyd Johnson Jr. And every other Saturday, Amy Euler joins him on that show. And I know those guys are looking forward to Double or Nothing. They'll be there live, so I'm sure they'll have some great live coverage to share here on the network. So don't forget to subscribe, leave a rating and review. We will catch you next week on Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts.
Thank you for listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. We'll see you next time.